Hi, welcome to Branco Broadcast. My name is Bob Branco. How is everybody this evening? Tonight we have, for the second time, Abbie Johnson Taylor. She's written another book, so she will be talking about that book along with her others. And Abbie, welcome to the show once again. You now have the floor.
Well, thank you, Bob, and thank you all for coming this evening. Sounds like we have a really great group tonight. Let me just maybe tell you about, I'll start off by telling you about my current book that just came out, My Ideal Partner, How I Met, Married, and Cared for the Man I Love Despite Debilitating Odds, is about how I met and married my late husband, Bill, and then took care of him after he had 2 strokes. We met the earlier part of the century through a publication called Newsreel. And in case you're not familiar with that, I know there's a few of you, or at least one of you that I know of who uses Newsreel. It's a publication, an audio magazine. When we first joined the group, Bill and I joined this newsreel back in the earlier part. Well, he joined before I did back in the 90s, I think. But anyway, it used to come out on those old 4-track cassettes. And of course now it's been modernized. It comes out in MP3 zipped folders, or you can get them in individual files, each track, or you can get it in an LS cartridge or CD, or it can be downloaded. Either in the individual MP3 files or in the zipped file folder that you can unzip and then transfer to a Victor Stream or other device. This is a forum where people who are blind or visually impaired can ask questions or share ideas or sell something or give something away or ask for something. And I had a computer question that I posed, and Bill responded to my question. At the time, he was living in Fowler, Colorado, and I was, of course, here in Sheridan, where I've been pretty much living since 1988, when I returned from my music therapy internship in Fargo, North Dakota. So anyway, he responded to me, and he answered my question, and then I emailed him back, and that's kind of how it started. We started emailing each other back and forth for a while, and then, occasionally he would call and we'd talk on the phone. He got my address and mailed me cassettes of songs that he downloaded off of the internet. That was at a time when you could download music for free, and he did that. And we emailed and talked to the phone every once in a while, and we did visit each other a couple times. Both in 2004, in the spring of 2004, and then in the winter of 2004, in December. My father and I would drive down to New Mexico to visit my brother who lived there at the time, and we would stop off in Fowler, which is a little bit out of the way, but not too far. You go to Pueblo, and then it's just about 25 miles east of Pueblo. So we would visit him in Fowler, and then in January of 2005, he sent me this Braille letter asking me to marry him out of the blue. I had no idea this was going to happen. I thought he just wanted to be friends, and I was okay with that. So all of a sudden, here's this marriage proposal, and it was just totally blew me out of the water. But anyway, long story short, 6 months later, we did get married. He moved up here to Sheridan to be with me. We got married in September of 2005. 3 months later, he suffered his first stroke. I came home one evening after singing with my group and found him lying on the floor. He was all sweaty. He could barely talk, and I called 911, got him to the hospital. The doctor, he said he couldn't feel his left side, and the doctor said, well, he suffered a cerebral bleed on the right side of his brain that affected the left side of his body. And they had to airlift him to a hospital in Billings, Montana, which is about 150 miles north of here, because they thought he might need surgery, and we didn't have a neurosurgeon here. So we took him up there in the airplane, airlifted him up there, and I went with him on the plane. And we got there, and the neurologist there said, well, no, surgery will do more harm than good. All we can only do is monitor him. And I thought, okay, can we get back on that plane and go back down to Sheridan? But, of course, we didn't. He stayed in that hospital there for a few days. They thought he could participate in that hospital's rehabilitation program, which would have been kind of a pain because I would have had to, traipse back and forth between Billings and Sheridan because I couldn't, stay up there for a few weeks. But as it turned out, he was too weak, And so that probably was for the best. They had to move him back down here to the nursing home here, and he spent 8 months in the nursing home recuperating. He never was able to walk again. We brought him home. We thought maybe he would eventually. Brought him home. I got another house that could be modified for a wheelchair. Brought him home. Took care of him at home. About a year after his first stroke, he suffered another stroke, which wasn't as severe, but it was enough to set him back where he never did walk again. So I took care of him for 6 years at home until in 2012, he started going downhill. His appetite decreased. He was getting weaker, and I had to move him to a nursing home. I hoped to get him into a place called Greenhouse, which it's a nursing home, but instead of one big building, it's like 4 cottages with a capacity of 12 residents each, and each resident has their own room. And with not as many residents, they have about 3 aides working there, so there's more of a better staff to resident ratio, and so he could have gotten the more individualized care he needed, and it wasn't better. But he couldn't wait. There was a 6-month waiting list for that, and so I moved him back to the other nursing home where he had been going for respite care and other places. And he passed 5 months later. So the book basically just talks about how I took care of him and all the stuff involved in doing that. And so maybe what I will do is I'll just to give you a little teaser. I'll read you the prologue of the book, and it's called The Big Day. This couldn't be happening, I told myself, as in my underwear I paced the upstairs hall in Grandma's house between my aunt's old bedroom and the bathroom. It was the afternoon of September 10th, 2005. In the yard, I heard strains of music from the string duo my father hired for the occasion, and the chatter of arriving guests. Soon the ceremony would start. Would I have to walk down the aisle on my father's arm in my underwear? Where was my sister-in-law, Kathleen, who agreed to be matron of honor? She was probably still at the motel with my brother, Andy, their 2 sons, Dylan and Tristan, ages 8 and 6, who were to be ushers, and their 2-year-old daughter, Isabella, who would serve as flower girl. Not only were we missing ushers and a flower girl, but my dress was with Kathleen at the motel, or so I thought. Why wasn't she here? The front door banged, and to my relief, I heard the excited voices of my nephews and niece. Go out back and don't mess up your nice clothes, Kathleen called before rushing up the stairs to greet me. You have my dress? I asked, noticing she wasn't carrying a garment. No, it's right there on the bed, she said, pointing to somewhere I couldn't see. With my limited vision, I could only make out people and objects close to me, and in the heightened emotional state of any bride-to-be, I hadn't thought to look closely for the dress. I'd been pacing the floor and wringing my hands for 20 minutes, wondering where it was, and all this time it was here in front of me. Just breathe, said Kathleen, as she slipped the gown over my head. That was easy for her to say. Later, fully dressed, I sat on the toilet seat while Kathleen applied my makeup. From the yard below, the string duo's music and the din of voices drifted up and in through the open bathroom window. When I was ready, Kathleen said, Okay, we need something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. Let's see. While she wandered through the upstairs rooms, I made my way to the ground floor, feeling anxious. The living room was deserted. Everyone was outside, waiting. Just as I sat on the couch to compose myself, Dad appeared and said, Honey, they're starting Pachelbel's Canon. I leaped to my feet and called up the stairs to Kathleen. Screw something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. Let's do this. I took Dad's arm and we maneuvered through the living and dining room and kitchen and out the back door. In minutes, Kathleen was at my side. Isabella strolled down the makeshift aisle. "Oh, look," said someone in the crowd. "She's dropping rose petals and picking them up again. Isn't that cute?" I wanted to be annoyed, but she was only 2. Still, I couldn't help wondering what else could possibly go wrong. Finally, I heard the musical cue for my entrance. "Okay, now," I whispered to Dad as we descended the back porch steps and moved down the aisle. At first, I didn't see Bill. Was he still at the Mint bar? Then, all of a sudden, there he stood with his gray hair and sunglasses, wearing a green suit to match my gown. He took my hand and said, "Hello, sweetie. Are you nervous?" As usual, his touch and voice were reassuring. And I smiled and said, "No, now that you're here." Nothing else mattered. Not the lost and found wedding dress, the late arrival of the matron of honor, the absence of something old, new, borrowed, blue, the errant flower girl. After a long day of preparation and celebration apart, we were finally together, unaware that tragedy would change our lives in 3 short months. And there's a poem here. At the end of each chapter, there is a poem that kind of emphasizes what was covered in the chapter. This one's called "What is Love?" Being warmed from within by another, having someone with whom to share dreams, a soothing voice that comforts you, gentle hands that smooth life's hardships, strong arms that hold you close, lips that bring you pleasure. Love is a heart that's yours forever. And before I open it up for questions, I'll just briefly mention my other books that are also for, first of all, let me tell you where this one can be found. I almost forgot. The best thing to do is to go to my website, which is http://www.abbiejohnsontayler.com. And then if you go to /memoir.htm, and that's AbbieJohnsonTaylor.com, and then /memoir, MEMOIR.htm, that you'll find information about the book. You'll find the synopsis. There's a picture of the front image cover, and then there are links to where the book can be ordered from Amazon, CreateSpace, and Smashwords. And if you get the book for order, go to Smashwords. You'll find a sample of the book on the page that is in accessible format. And then if you want to buy the book, it's only $3.95. You can download it in a bunch of different formats, PDF, TXT, that you can read on your computer or put on your Victor Stream or other device. So that's that. And then my other books are That's Life, New and Selected Poems, and this is a poetry collection that just came out back in 2014. And then How to Build a Better Mousetrap, Recollections and Reflections of a Family Caregiver is another poetry collection that came out in 2011. And then my first novel is We Shall Overcome, which came out in 2007. And you can find information about all of these books on my website. The main page is http://www.abbiejohnsontayler.com, AbbieJohnsonTaylor.com. And Bob, if there's some way I can I can email you those links. You can post them for people. I'll be happy to do that. Just let me know if I can do that. That would make it easier than trying to write it all down. So, I can now open up to questions if anybody has any questions. I know there was some earlier.
Oh. How many pages is your book? Is the latest book you have?
Okay, the latest book, it's, I can't remember. Let's see, I've got the CreateSpace file right here. It'll tell me. Oh, no, it won't. It's over 50. It's about almost 300 pages.
Oh, wow.
Abbie, I can answer that question.
Thank you. Okay, great.
Hang on.
Wonderful. Yeah, because I've got the CreateSpace file here, but my screen reader, when I'm using Skype with these headphones, it doesn't work for some reason.
Go ahead, Leonor.
The print edition is 275 pages long, and it costs $11.95.
And then the ebook is about the same length, I think, and it's $3.95. I think it's $3.95 on Smashwords, Amazon, and Amazon, I think.
Yes.
And then if you
$3.99 for the ebook.
$3.99. Excuse me. Yeah. Okay.
Amazon and Smashwords, and it will soon be available on multiple other selling platforms as well. My husband David will be adding those as soon as they come online. Those will be Barnes & Noble, the Apple iTunes Store, and a few others. But Smashwords and Amazon for the ebook, and then Create Space or Amazon for the print book are the main outlets.
Excuse me.
Are there any other questions?
Yes, well,
Jeff?
yeah, well, NLS. Does NLS have any of them?
No. Now, We Shall Overcome was recorded by my local regional talking book library in Utah, the Utah State Library. They recorded it, but NLS has not picked any of my books up, and I'm not quite sure about getting it on there. I know with our this group that I belong to, that Alice and Laura and I belong to, Behind Our Eyes, our anthologies got on there just because a lot of people read them and reviewed them, and then else picked them up. So what you might want to do is if you buy it, especially on Amazon. I don't know about Smashwords, but if you get it on Amazon, go and review it, give it, and if it gets enough reviews, and it might work on Smashwords too. I don't know.
Excuse me. Speaking of Behind Our Eyes, the second book, I'll be proofreading it for Braille Library and Transcribing Services of Madison, Wisconsin.
Oh, great.
That's 4 Braille volumes.
Oh, wow. Okay, terrific. That's good to know. Yeah, and that's another thing. I'm really not sure how to get it, in Braille or record.
I'll give you my number if I know your number, or if I don't contact, you could get my number from Bob Branco.
Okay.
Since I don't know your number.
Okay. Well, yeah, if you have it, or if I can, can I give you an email address and you can just send
I don't have email.
Okay. I'll just get it from Bob. That'd probably be easier.
I'm sorry. I did my book on Bard, so I could give you some places to email.
Well, I can give you an email address. And what's your name?
I'm Stephen Thieberg.
Hi, Stephen. Okay, yeah. I can give you an email address, and then, or if you know what, the easiest thing to do, that way you don't have to write it down. You go to my website that I mentioned earlier, and I'm going to maybe send Bob.
I don't have, so I would have to get your number through directory assistance. I mean,
I don't think I'm listed. But I think Steve can email me, so we'll figure that out.
Yeah,
we'll get that figured out.
Approach the people they'll probably take your books, It's just a matter of contacting the right people.
Right, okay.
But yeah.
Right, okay. Are there any other questions?
Well, a comment. This is Karen, a comment and a question, but mainly comments. I really liked your prologue. It was so well written. It made me feel like I was there, I got married. I'm also a widow. And it made me feel like, oh my gosh, the day of your wedding.
Oh yeah, right.
Exciting it was, but I also got the feeling that so many things were going wrong. You started asking yourself, is anything else going to go wrong?
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be kind of a foreshadowing of what will happen in the future too. You could look at it that way too.
Feeling,
yeah,
you got the feeling of the excitement as well, but also it's so well written. I can't see any reason why NLS wouldn't take your book.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, I'll definitely look into that. Yeah.
Abbie. Hi, Abbie. This is Alice Massa, and
yes.
I you on just an excellent reading of your prologue.
Thank you.
It's
Thank you.
Writing and your voice and your reading capabilities really make
thank you.
Life in such an extraordinary way, and you have such
Thank you. I am going to thank you.
I think it would really be wonderful if NLS would some way arrange so that you could read that book. I just heard recently.
Well, actually, I'm not for NLS, but I am going to work on, recording myself reading it and make that available on my website as a free download. Probably in NLS free files. I'm sorry, what? What about NLS? Somebody could.
Oh, I was just commenting. I think it would. I can't see any reason why your reading of the book, why they wouldn't accept it.
Well, I don't know, because they usually prefer to have their own.
Authors are reading their books on the audio books and everything. They're doing a lot of
right. Yeah.
So I can't see any reason why they wouldn't.
I don't know either, but yeah. Well, that's definitely something to consider. Yeah.
Abbie, this is Rebecca from North Carolina. I was wondering, in your book, do you address anything like a section of your book? Does it address I don't know what kind of obstacles, but I was wondering if you had people that wondered if you could take care of your
I did address that briefly because I did wonder when we were getting ready to discharge him from the nursing home, I wondered if some of the social service people, because I read horror stories about blind parents whose, children were taken away from them because social services people thought that they couldn't take care of them. But nobody questioned it. I think it could have been because for years I worked at that nursing home. People knew me. And I think that was probably why. Nobody, not even the family services. Of course, she used to work there and worked there when I was working there too. So yeah, I was just lucky, I think, that nobody really questioned. There were times when I questioned, especially the first day, and I did crash and burn the first night when I brought him home, but, it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of wondering, if maybe some of his family kind of wondered, or...
nobody, because he was blind too. And so his family was very supportive, and nobody questioned my ability to take care of him.
That's awesome. That's really awesome.
Yeah.
Abbie? This is Lauren.
Yeah.
I just want to say that you read that beautifully. It was,
thank you.
I really liked that, and I felt like I was there too with you, and it made me think of my wedding day too. So really, I really enjoyed it, and I'm going to have to get that book. That's for sure. I really want to read that.
And like I say, if you get it from Smashwords, you can get it in a format that you can read on your computer, or you can put it on your VictorStream or other portable device that you might have that reads text files. So I would definitely suggest you do that. Yeah, don't wait for NLS, because even if they do take it, it'll take forever. They usually don't take books, get them recorded until a year after they come out. So don't wait for NLS. Oh, I'm also going to put it on Bookshare too. So
yeah, that takes
Abbie, what drove you to writing in the first place?
So writing in general? Well, that's a really good question. I just decided to, I really don't know. I just started to, had ideas to write, and, I've been working, in the nursing home, and, when I went in the summertime, I like to go to a camp on Castor Mountain, which is about 150 miles, south and west of here. And, one of the things they had was a creative writing class, and so I would sign up for that. And it was for people who are blind. The campus, it was a summer program for the blind where they taught, daily living and mobility and other computers and other classes, for 2 weeks for adults. And then they also had a creative writing class. And I signed up for that, and that's kind of how I got started. And, then when I got a computer, of course, it made it much easier, and I decided, I kind of like writing. So, that's basically how I got into it, I think.
And what is that camp for anybody if you want to go and
no, it's just for people in Wyoming, and it's no longer for adults. They just have a kids program there now. They used to have a 2-week adult program, and which is great for a lot of the senior citizens, newly blinded, who need to relearn some of those skills. But they don't have it anymore. But it was just for people in Wyoming. It wasn't for anybody. Just a resident of Wyoming.
Wow. Yeah. So how old was your husband when he died? Bill, when he died?
He was 70 years old. He just turned 70 about a couple of weeks before he passed.
Wow. And so he was what? 2 years. How many years older than you?
He was 19 years older than me.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was kind of surprised because when we first met, I thought maybe he was in his 50s, and I was in my 40s. And so I thought, but then when he sent a letter, he proposed marriage to me. He said, "Well, I'm 19 years older, but I don't think that should be a problem." Whoa, I didn't know he was that much older, but that that wasn't the issue. I just, it was just I wasn't sure if I was ready to to make that big of a change. So, especially when it wasn't, and he told me. He wanted to do this for 6 months, and he said he dropped subtle hints in the email. Well, I didn't pick those up, so I don't know.
Oh, he lived from 1942 to 2012.
He was born in October 1942 is when he was born.
Yeah.
And I was born in 61.
Well, when's your birthday?
June 1st.
You were born on a Thursday.
Oh.
Yep,
really?
you were born on a Thursday. Yep.
Huh. Didn't know that.
And his was October 19th?
October 18th.
Oh, Sunday. He was born on a Sunday.
In 1942.
Yep.
Darn.
I was not yet around, but the day you were born, I was at the Walter E. Fenalt State School, 200 Trapella Road, Waltham, Massachusetts.
Well, I'll be darned. Huh. Well, are there any other questions?
Yeah, what are you doing with... Oh, sorry.
Oh, no. Steve, you asked first.
I'm just wondering how, without getting specific, how your books are selling and what you're doing especially online for promotion. I know we were talking earlier.
Yeah, well, what I do now, for all my books, the sales haven't, been that well, and it's, nothing you can do is going to guarantee the books are going to sell. All I can do is try. Now, with my blog posts, I have, at the bottom of my posts, I have links to my site where people can go and read more about the books and order them. And, and then of course this new one I'm plugging, quite a bit since it just came out. And so I'm trying to figure out ways in my blog posts to mention them. And recently, yesterday, I just reviewed a book that I just read called Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. You probably heard of, the movie came out recently. And, and of course that's an easy book that I could relate to, my situation because it's about a caregiver. So I could, I was able to find a way to bridge between that and my book.
So you just keep trying and persisting and...
Yeah, just keep persisting. Yeah. I'll be sending out email. I need to do that. I'm going to be sending out an email to family and friends. I need to do that. I meant to do it sooner, but I've been swamped with other things. But need to send an email, and I'll be sending out press releases. I'll be contacting locations around town to see if I can, do signings and presentations and things like that. And, and just keep plugging it every chance I get. I might also get have some postcards printed up and send them out to friends and family who don't have email or that I don't have email addresses for. I may do that too.
Well, good luck.
I read Braille and audio.
Yeah.
Since I don't have email though.
Right. Well, like I say, it'll be a while before it'll be available in Braille and audio, but I am working on, I'm going to get it up on Bookshare, and I am working on recording it and making that available on my site.
Are your other books on Bookshare?
Yes, yeah, all my other books are on Bookshare. If you go to the Bookshare site and you could do a search for Abbie, Abbie Johnson, Johhnson, Taylor, Taylor, you do a search for that and they should come up. And there are 3 books.
Get on there. How long did it take you to get on there when you submitted your books on Bookshare?
Bookshare, it doesn't take that long. Maybe 2 or 3 weeks. Maybe I have to send them an RTF file, and then I have to download and sign a letter of consent and mail that to them. So it does take a little while, but not nearly as long as it would take for NLS.
Oh yeah, I know. Yep.
Yeah.
Abbie, it's Lauren.
Yes.
Have you ever gone and done like book signings at a bookstore or anything like that?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I do that. I've gone, and then when I go to writers' conferences and there's a bookstore, like our state writers group has a conference every year in June, and they have a bookstore. I will usually go into the bookstore and sign books there during the conference. They have a special time for that. And any other, opportunities I can. We have a farmer's market here in town, and I might even see if I can sell books down there. I don't know how easy that would be because I'd probably have to haul a table down there and get someone to haul a table for me, and so I don't know how easy that would be or feasible. But I may look into that.
Yeah.
Well, and not only a book, but see, I'd have to provide my own table maybe, to sell them. Whereas if you go to a bookstore or a library, they provide a table.
Right.
So, yeah. So I might see about that. Yes.
Yeah, this is Leonore again, everybody. I just wanted to mention that through Create Space, the authors are able to buy copies of their books for only about 1/3 of the price that the retails for, and then they are free to sell the book at full price. So that's a very good way to make a fine profit, if you can find.
Yes, definitely.
That's the best way, really, if you can sell the print books.
Yeah.
Right, that's what I'm going to try to do, That's what I'm going to try to do. And I just got an email from Create Space today saying my order had shipped. So, but they were saying when I ordered it last week, it said it would be delivered August 9th. So, but if it shipped today, it might get here sooner. We'll see.
Yeah, it might. And I also would like to mention that, of course, the ebook from Amazon is print to text. No, what's it called? No, I'm sorry, opposite way. Text to speech enabled.
Oh, it is text speech enabled. Oh, that's good. Okay, I was sure about that. Yeah.
They're text speech enabled, so people can listen to the book on a Kindle.
Yeah, if you give a Kindle.
Computer too. Yes.
Right. Okay, I didn't even think of that. Great. Okay.
It sounds a little bit mechanical, but it's acceptable. It's not like
I know it's not like for professional human voice reading it, but that's the way a lot of screen readers are anyway.
Abbie, I have a process question for you. This is Alan, and you send to Leonore your book a chapter at a time or section?
Oh no, I sent her the whole file. I sent her the whole file back in April, and this is a surprising thing. She and David were really swamped back then. She said it might not be till like fall or maybe early next year. And then all of a sudden, boom, in June, I get this email from her saying, oh, well, we're ahead of schedule, and I'll be starting to work on your book next week. And then and the next thing I knew, I got a proof from her that I had to, go through and proof, and I went through, made some changes, sent it back to her. But it's, I just sent her the whole file. And then when she sends proofs back to me, they're in Word format. Whereas, like iUniverse and other publishers and even Finishing Line Press, it was all in those PDFs that sometimes my screen reader couldn't read. I have to print the pages and read them that way. But this is so much easier, to work with it in Word and to go back through and proofread it and make any changes or whatever that need to be made. And so it's much, much easier working with her than any of the publishers that I've worked with before.
It's a lot more fun that way.
Saying that, Abbie, and I would like to tell people that we've been doing this for mainly blind clients since 2009, and so far we've done almost 30 books for other authors, and some people send us the entire book, like Abbie did, the way Abbie did, and then some people have sent us books in chapters. So it's just varied, but most people send us the whole manuscript at a time in a Word file, and then we work with that. We do everything from, it just depends on what the book needs. Of course, we check for things like spelling, grammar, punctuation, spacing, all of that, and then sometimes we make fairly major text changes that we think would be good. And of course, everything is done with the approval and cooperation of the author. We don't just change the book and then publish. Everything's done with the author's cooperation. And some books have taken a fairly short time. Some have taken many months of very hard work. It depends on how well or how badly the book is written. How many changes are needed, just all kinds of different factors, go into how long it takes us. But Abbie's book did take us less time than most of the books that we've worked on have taken us. because, first of all, it was very well written, and we did have the whole thing all at once, and it really didn't take us all that long to do it. It wasn't as hard work as some of the books that we've worked on. So a lot of it's due to Abbie, not just our work. And we were happy, Abbie, that we were ahead of schedule there and were able to do it quickly. But some books that we've worked on have taken, oh my gosh, many months of hard work. So,
I'm sure. Yeah.
Wasn't it exciting when he called you and said you're now published on Amazon and Smashwords and Create?
Well, yes. Oh, definitely. Definitely. Yes.
Yes. That book out
oh,
there.
Yeah. You're right.
Yep.
Well, the most exciting feeling is when you have your first book published. So you didn't have that, Abbie, but yes, I well remember the feeling when my first book was published and when David's first book was published way back in 1998, I think it was. It's an amazing feeling.
It is, definitely. And I remember when my first book was published and I got the printed copies from the publisher, Bill, he was totally blind, but he's sitting there in the recliner and says, well, let me see it. And so I just took his one good hand, and he felt it, and I told him what the front cover looked like and the back cover looked like, and, and he's just like, my wife, the published author. He was just so proud. Yeah.
So what's your book cover like?
Yeah.
My book cover is it's our wedding picture. From when we first married, it's our wedding picture. Yeah. And then it has the title on the top and the subtitle on the bottom and my name on the bottom. It's in kind of a Leonore could probably describe it better than I could, kind of a green, black and white grayscale.
Yeah. Shall I describe it? Yeah.
Please do. Thank you.
Sure.
Better job than I do.
The base color of the cover is a very, very pale beige. It's kind of a cream color. And then the title, letters, and her name are in very dark brown. And we chose that because the background color of the photo is dark brown. And then there's a picture of the picture of them together. It's a really nice picture of them from their wedding, fairly close up, like chest level up to their head. And Bill is on the left and Abbie's on the right. And you're wearing this very pretty pink dress. Abbie, I like your dress. With this big
it's actually, I think my sister-in-law said it was more of a mauve. She helped me pick it out in Pueblo. It was kind of a mauve color.
In the photo it looks more pink, but it's very pretty.
Yeah.
And it matches the pink rose that Bill has on his lapel, and you have a big lily on your dress. It's very nice. And then the subtitle is longer than most because that's the one that says, how I met, married, and cared for the man I love despite debilitating odds. And that, we chose the color dark green for those letters because there's dark green in the two corsages that you're wearing.
Wow.
And so it's very harmonious. It's really a neat process. David and I like making
excellent covers, I think.
Because we can coordinate colors of the letters with colors that are in the photos. So we work on that together. And then on the back is a description of the book. And then Abbie's photo, a little headshot of Abbie, is in the lower left-hand corner, and then the barcode is over to the right. And so you're going to be very happy with how it looks, Abbie. It's really a nice book. And we always have the interior printed on cream-colored paper. You can choose cream or stark white. But the stark white is kind of hard on people's eyes. So we do it on cream, and then, of course, black print. And it's very, very nice looking. It really is.
Abbie.
Yes.
Yes, hi, this is Don in Massachusetts. I have a two-part question. You mentioned you used to work in a nursing home. Were you directly involved in the patient care?
No, I worked in activities. So I did a lot, and my specialty was music. As a matter of fact, I was a registered music therapist. And so I did a lot of music activities like sing-alongs and rhythm band and name that tune and musical bingo. But then I would do other things too. I do readings, and of course, part of my job I had to take residents to and from activities that others were doing, and that kind of thing. So, that was basically my job. And so I didn't really do anything with patient care. So naturally, the caregiving business was kind of overwhelming because I didn't know the first thing about how to dress someone or transfer them or even, how to, wipe them after they had, used the bathroom, because not having kids, it was, it wasn't something that came naturally to me. So I definitely had lots to learn in that department.
Right. Now, do you have some sight, or are you totally blind?
Yes, I know. I have some vision. I'm able to read print if it's large enough. I can see people and objects up close. I use a cane when I walk around town, mainly just, it's more security blanket than anything else. I just feel more comfortable using it. When I was younger, when I was a kid, I didn't really, was more adventurous, but...
Right.
When you were reading your book,
I was just
when I was reading the book, I was using a Braille display.
Oh, you were? Okay.
That's, I can read print, but it's kind of slow going reading print. I have a desktop magnifier I can use to read print, but it's pretty slow going. So I have to use the Braille if I'm going to read something, especially aloud. I can read, I can read mail and that kind of things that, don't take a lot of time to read in print, but otherwise I read Braille if I'm going to read something aloud, or otherwise screen reader. Thank you.
You read very well. It was very
good.
I like your prose. I felt myself being there, like people were saying. It was very...
Well, thank you. Yeah. Well, be sure and go to Smashwords, because that's the best option where you get something that you'll be able to read and buy it there. And, just do that, and I think you'll enjoy it. It won't be me reading it, but,
Anyone else with a question?
Hi, yes, I have a question.
Karen?
This is Karen. Just curious, Abbie, I hope you don't mind me asking this, but how long did it take you to write the book?
Well, I started it soon after he passed, and which is probably a good thing because, I was able to get a lot of the details down of how I, transferred him and that kind of thing. But then became too emotional for me. So I had to put it aside for about a year, and then I came back to it, and I was able to finish it. Yeah.
Do you think writing about it helped you grieve more, like putting it down in writing?
Yes. Yeah, I think it was therapeutic, yes.
Yeah.
And first it was, but then, like I said, it just got too, emotional. I felt like I had to distance myself. But I had gotten most of the details, because if I'd waited to write it until 2 years later, I might not have remembered how I did all those transfers. Transferring him from the bed to the wheelchair, from the wheelchair to the commode, to the recliner, whatever. I would have forgotten the details of those transfers. So I'm glad I started when I did and got the details down that I might have forgotten later on. So.
Yes, it's very detailed. I'd like to say, this is Leonore again. It's very detailed, and Abbie has a lot of dialogue in it. So I would say, yes, the whole book. You really feel like you're there. She's very, very good at describing exactly what's happening, and I think it's excellent on the descriptive level, Abbie. I really do.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I was kind of surprised when I got Leonore's first email. She says, "Well, your book is so well written. It's not going to take us long." Wow, that's great, because the past couple when I did my novel, I had somebody copy edit, and there were mistakes galore. So I guess I must have improved, which is good to know.
I guess you did. Yeah. Because there really wasn't that much to correct. And now, David, I should explain to everybody that my husband now does. He's a writer with almost 30 books of his own, 30 published books, or 28. And so he's now doing the preliminary editing. So he goes over it just for things like grammar, spelling, punctuation, and so forth, and the formatting. He does all the technical stuff because he is a retired computer programmer and tech writer. And then I go over it and do the polishing, and I'm the one kind of in charge of, consulting with the clients about any more major changes that need to be made. I probably do about 95% at least of the communicating with the clients. So David and I are a real team, and then we work together on the covers, and he does all the technical part for the production of the book. And we also set up the accounts for the clients with with the publishing companies and so forth. So we really are a full service shop, and we love doing it. And gosh, at least 3/4 of our clients are either blind or visually impaired. It's just this little special area that we've fallen into here over the last 6 years.
Well, yes. Because there really isn't anybody else I don't think there's anybody else who will edit and then put it on CreateSpace, Smashwords, and Amazon. You hire someone, you still have, you still have to put it up there yourself.
We may be unusual in that. I really don't know, but that's what David has been doing.
That's pretty unique.
With all of our own books. All of our books are also on those 3 platforms. And so it gives the buyer a lot more choice. And we're very happy that all these options are now available for self-publishing. In fact, David's next book that will come out in a few months is a how-to manual on self-publishing.
Oh, wow.
Interesting. Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Wow.
It's actually pretty technical, so his final message in the book will be to the readers. If you still think, if you've read this and you think it's a little bit too technical for you, we're here to help.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, I did. Smashwords also had some help. I downloaded their free, guide to publishing, and it does talk about how to format stuff. And you know what? Why should I bother with this? I have David and Leonore do that. I just skip that part.
You're in good hands, Abbie.
Yes, absolutely.
David does the formatting of the book in literally about 2 or 3 hours. It doesn't to do that. He's very, very quick and good at it because of his 40 years of experience, working with computers. So
you're an awesome
team.
I'm glad you did my book.
We could not do this without his skills.
Yep.
Abbie, one more time the website for everyone so that we can check it out.
It's http://www.Abbie Johnson Taylor. That's Taylor, Taylor.com. Let me do that again because I goofed. It's www.Abbie, Abbie Johnson, Johnson, Taylor, Taylor.com. That's the main website, and you'll find links to all the books there. And every page it has, the initial, navigation, all my books, all my short stories. So you'll find a link to everything there on that page. And then on my books page, you'll find links to where they can be ordered from the various sources. And then on, I think that's Life, I do have a recording of that I put up, or me reading that. And, and other various links and like interviews and book reviews. And I'll be putting those up having those put up on the other page.
So I can contact you there as far as NLS and all that and the BARD?
Yeah. If you go to that site, there's a link there. It says email Abbie. You just click on that. There shouldn't be a problem.
All right.
All right, we have time for a couple more questions before we conclude today.
Somebody's dog was wanting to say something. I don't know.
Ollie.
Well, I don't think we can speak dog language. That's the only problem.
No. Unfortunately, yeah.
No, all of this is woof woof anyway.
So anyone else? Final question?
Well, I'm not sure my book will even appeal to dogs anyway. It's not about dogs. I don't think a dog would find it interesting anyway.
Well, since nobody else seems to have any questions.
I think somebody was saying something.
Yeah.
Somebody said something.
Very, very quickly, Bob.
Go ahead, Don.
Very quickly. Abbie, when you travel, do you need any kind of aid, such as a cane or a dog? Or?
Yes, when I walk around town, I use a white cane. That's what I use. And then, of course, if I, fly anywhere, I always, I don't know if that was what you're wondering, but I'll just say in case anybody's wondering, I always in advance arrange with a travel agent to, let them know that I will be needing assistance getting, on and off the plane and making connections and that kind of thing. So, yeah. So I do need assistance in that area.
Yeah.
And Abbie, this is Lauren. I just wanted to say before we close that, you said it was 19 years between the two of you, but the fact that Bill was only 70 years old when he died, he really didn't have a long life, and it was just the fact that you had 6 years, but the two of you were so much in love that the 6 years matters, because it doesn't matter how many years you're together, but the fact that you were in love with each other and you had each other for 6 years means a lot.
It does. And we did hope we would have, at least maybe 20 good years, because he said to me, I'm pretty healthy, we'll have 20 good years together at least, and, so it was kind of a shock, but that's the way it goes, that's life.
Yes, that's true.
Still rough, though,
Yep, that's right.
Okay, well, hearing no other questions, I want to thank you, Abbie, for participating this evening for a second time on Branco Broadcast. Good luck with your sales of your book and your others that you had written previous to this one as well.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And we'll have you back.
Thank you.
And thank you for your appearance, and good luck, and
thank you.
Have a nice evening.
Thank you. You do the same.